Hello and welcome, it's me Martin and another video, another Saturday. Enjoy. I hope you're all doing very well and thank you ever so much for all your support over the past few weeks. We're almost at the end of January. Today I'm going to be looking at TPR, gestures that you can use in the classroom and things that you can incorporate to try and help improve that interaction with the students. You may be thinking, what is TPR? TPR is total physical response, and it's also used to demonstrate, as I'm doing now with my hands and everything else like that, certain expectations with the students. So if you're wanting to look serious, you'll look quite serious, in a physical classroom, but it's very difficult to replicate that in an online environment. So today I'm going to be sharing with you common gestures that you can incorporate in the classroom when you're teaching remotely. So let's get started. When you're teaching online using gestures, it means an awful lot to try and over generalize the gestures. If you're not overdoing gestures within an online environment, it may influence a student to think that their teacher is not really interested, not really engaged with the lesson that they're teaching. So I would always recommend teachers to overdo gestures within an online platform. The first gesture I would always recommend teachers to incorporate is the cup into the ear. So this has many different uses. You could say, oh, I can't hear you, squinting, or it could be your turn to speak. So if you ask a question and you nominate a student, you could say, how was your weekend? Then it's a prompt to the student to respond to the question. The second gesture I would recommend teachers to incorporate is this gesture. So like I just said, how was your weekend? You're leading the student. So you're trying to share that question with the student. So how was your weekend? What do you think? And it's always vital to look at the camera, the webcam, when you're trying to share a question with the students. So, Juan Sebastian, what do you think? And then the student, Juan Sebastian, for example, he could say, well, I think it's... So you're trying to engage students using these gestures, these total physical responses. Another technique that you could do is using your fingers. So we could have a sentence, I live in the UK. Okay, so you could teach students pronunciation forms online. So you could drill, I live in the UK. And you could get students to replace this with whatever country they're living in. So I live in the, obviously, Republic or United, whatever. Or I live in plus a country. So using your fingers when you're teaching is vital, especially when you're trying to drill either sentence forms or stress patterns within a word. It's very, very important to try and engage the student, or trying to engage students to pronounce correctly using the hand formation. So very, very useful. Don't forget, this is one technique, one gesture that you could use when you're teaching. The next gesture that I would recommend teachers to incorporate is the silence. So listen. It's a very, very simple technique, and it immediately encourages students to engage and go, oh, right, okay, I need to listen. Yeah, so listen, and then you give your instructions. The difference between this, hearing, or listen, is very important, yeah? So these techniques can help you when you're teaching online, and the students will start to recognize certain gestures to what's expected of them. Okay, the next gesture I would recommend teachers to incorporate is hand and this. So paper, pen, make notes. Yeah, it's very simple. You don't need to use a lot of words. So just make notes. It's very simple, very useful, very important when you're teaching and giving instructions online. Now, the final gesture that I would recommend is this one. It's like you're pulling a string, but you're not. You're saying complete sentence, yeah? Complete sentence. Not one word, but a complete sentence. Now, students, if you ask them, how are you? They could say, fine. Complete sentence. I am very well, or I am fine. Yeah, using complete sentence. It's a very useful technique to remind students that they have to respond using full sentences. So, those are my gestures that I would recommend teachers to incorporate when they're teaching online, and it's very vital, especially when you're trying to encourage that interaction with the students and also demonstrating to students what your expectation is. And after a few lessons, the students will start to get used to it. So that's it. Now, as a final version for introduction, a special gesture if you wish, I would always encourage, particularly for children, teenagers, young learners, to use gestures as much as possible, okay? And when it comes to that first few minutes, when you first meet that student, it's so important to show enthusiasm and engagement as a teacher, especially if you're teaching one-to-one. And I will give you a very quick, simple demonstration of how you can introduce yourself to the student. Hello, my name is Martin. Nice to meet you. What's your name? Very good. That's fantastic. Are you ready? Let's get started. Now, obviously for me, I'm feeling a bit awkward because I'm overdoing the gestures. My pitch rises, particularly for young learners, and it's also a way to engage and to try and entice that response from the young learner. And that's it. That's my final tip for teaching with gestures, particularly for young learners in that last example. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. It will tell you when I upload a new video, usually Wednesdays and Saturdays at 1 p.m. If you have any comments or questions, it would be great to read your comments and questions below, so please comment below. Always enjoy reading your comments. And if I do have a chance, I'll reply to any questions that you have. Thank you ever so much for supporting this channel. Really appreciate it. Take care, stay safe, and happy teaching. Bye bye.